What is up, everybody? Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It's your girl, Denise Salcedo, and it is the Raw After Mania. It is here. It has happened. And damn, Raw After Mania surprisingly turned out to be kind of better than what we saw at WrestleMania 41. Now, I do not want this to take away from some of the big moments that happened at WrestleMania, and by that I mean that women's triple threat match, Dominik Mysterio getting winning the Fatal 4-Way, all of that. I don't want that to take away from those moments, but as a whole, there is a lot more to get into with Raw After Mania than there is pretty much anything else, okay? And even just the ending, if we're even just talking about the ending alone was far better than any ending that we got from WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2, which is crazy to think, okay? Because they literally had me completely change my mind on the Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman pairing. I was not on board with that. And coming out of this, now seeing Bron Breakker take part in this, now I am invested because we are shaping the future. Bron Breakker is going to be a Paul Heyman guy, and I cannot wait to see how that is gonna unfold. But let's go ahead and break down what went down on the show, what even made it so special, and all of that. So I'm gonna kick things off with the John Cena segment. Now, here's the thing. I didn't think that the John Cena segment was great until Randy Orton came out. Once Randy Orton got there, that's when it started to feel like, okay, you know what? This is good, because we were all wondering, coming off of the Travis Scott, John Cena ending, guys, it was just not good. It was not what the people wanted, in the sense that it wasn't about John Cena winning the 17th world title, right? We knew that was going to happen. We banked on it that it was going to happen. But it was the way that it was executed, with the slow Travis Scott walk, with the silliness of not having John Cena not having Cody Rhodes hit John Cena with the title bout. It was all of those things that really took away from a moment that a lot of people were really excited about, like legit excited about. And unfortunately, we just didn't it just didn't hit. It didn't hit. Instead of being like, oh shit, yeah, John Cena won his 17th world title. Instead, we were kind of in the dumps about it. Like, we weren't really going too crazy about it. I felt like it took away from the moment so much, because I was more so let down about how it happened, that I almost didn't have like the energy or the goal to like even start cheering or getting excited about John Cena winning the 17th world title. So I kind of hate that they took the juice out of the moment. And so that sucks, right? So John Cena goes out there today. He kicks off the show, and again, he is telling the fans that he doesn't care about the fans. He doesn't like how 1 minute they cheer him and the next they boo him, and that if they're gonna boo him, they're gonna have to boo him a lot harder, because he's been in more meaner, nastier crowds, right? And here's the thing, that's nothing new. We have already heard John Cena say all of these things. That is nothing new. We've heard it. So I wasn't too in love with the intro to Raw After Mania, but once we got towards the end, it started to feel like John Cena was basically saying like, okay, the next person, I'm going to be the one. He said that he's going to be the one to take the championship home. He's going to retire it. He's going to leave with it and basically screw the fans, right? And ruin pro wrestling. So, so John Cena, and that's the moment where you knew that somebody was going to come out. You knew someone was going to come out. You just didn't know exactly who. And so I'm waiting there and I'm like going, okay, who's it going to be? And it ended up being Randy. He comes up, he creeps up from behind him, and he hits him with that RKO. Now, John Cena and Randy Orton, they go way back, guys. Like, their careers paralleled each other for a long time. And people, when we found out that John Cena was going to be doing his retirement tour, people were wondering, hey, if you're going to run back any feuds, obviously some of the ones that people want to see run back are Randy Orton, CM Punk. Those are some of the ones that were thrown out there, people that he's had history with that you can sort of run back. And so it looks like they're doing Randy. I'm assuming they're going to do this match at Backlash, given that, you know, Randy's on the cover. He's already been promoted. I believe John Cena's been promoted for that too. I've lost track of what they've been promoting John Cena for. But that was the other thing. He mentioned that he had, the 36 days, right? The 36 days that he was going to be doing his retirement tour. And I'm actually kind of glad that they did a countdown for this, because I had even said a while back, like, hey, has anybody been keeping track? Like, I hadn't been really been keeping track of how many days he's done. So we're down to 27 days. 27 days. And by that, I mean 27 appearances. That doesn't even mean matches, guys. Literally, John Cena could pop in, say hello, wave his hand, and walk off the screen. And that counts as an appearance, and that counts as a date. So he did let us know where we're at right now and how many we have left. So we are at 27. And so Randy hits him with the RKO, and everybody's like, fuck yeah. Now, Randy was a safe assumption to make that he was going to go out there, because he had originally told Cody Rhodes, when Cody Rhodes was the champion, he had told Cody Rhodes that he was going to challenge him for the belt. He was obviously expecting Cody to win, but didn't. But he had made his intentions very clear that he wanted to go for the championship belt. So I think Randy was definitely a safe assumption to make, that he would come out there. And now they're going to run back John Cena and Randy. I don't think Randy is winning, though. I do think that John Cena will retain, because I still think they're going to want to do a lot more with John Cena with the belt, especially with those limited dates. However, we also know that we're not going to see John very often with that belt, which means we're really not going to see that championship belt at all. So that is kind of sucky. Unless Randy Orton does actually defeat him, then great. Then we will see the championship belt, and we will have a champion on screen. So it could, I guess, go 50-50. Maybe me saying that John Cena's going to outright win. Maybe that isn't completely so bold of me to say. I don't know. But Randy Orton coming out there and hitting John Cena with the RKO, I thought that was freaking awesome. And I'm glad that they did that. But that was really the best part of that opening segment. All right. So we do have a super chat here from, let me see, where are we at? Luis Arturo Mendez, who says, after the attack of Pat McAfee, do you think the commentators would go on a strike? Plus, great Raw After Mania. That's so funny, because obviously, other commentators in the past have been attacked. So it's one of those things where I don't feel like I don't feel like they would go on a strike or anything like that. Obviously, they were pissed, and Michael Cole made like a big deal about it, which, that was what they were trying to do. They're really selling it, but I don't think they'll do like a strike or anything like that. Lawrence Ross says, hey, Lisa, what a Raw After Mania. Way to bring us back. Yeet, Io and Steph. OMG. Dude, that was my favorite part of the show. Hold on. The ending was my favorite part, but this was one of my favorite parts too, with the women. And I'll get into that in just a second. Thank you so much, Lawrence Ross, for the love on that. We also have Jim here, who says, will Braun ever become Steiner? Maybe Heyman helps. Dude, if they did a segment where, Paul Heyman is talking about how he's going to do all of these things for Bron Breakker, and they start off with saying that there's going to be a name change and he's going to go to have the Steiner name. Oh, dude, that would be so much better. I do feel like he should have the Steiner name. I've always felt like he should have the Steiner name, and now is a chance to do that. Like, this is a new chapter for Bron Breakker. So the new chapter could involve him having the last name, but that I don't know if it'll happen though. MSQ says, let's go. Cena did his job last night, since everyone's mad about last night's main event. Also, Travis Scott is Rodman 2.0, not another Jon Stewart. Look, so with that being said, there's a difference between, I know you're saying that you feel like he did his job because everyone is mad, but it's not the kind of heat that you want. It's not the heat that is the good heat because, oh, hey, this is the pro wrestler's actions, right? When a pro wrestler does actions, what their actions is what generates the heat, right? This was on the booking. That's on the person that is actually running the show. And guys, Santi made it. Santi, I feel so sorry that you had to like rush through.
Oh, well, with such a crazy episode, so many people are sharing their thoughts and opinions. I was
Yes.
I was like just floored by how many super chats were coming in, which by the way, I'm grateful for. It's a great problem to have. But I'm
Yes.
glad that we were able to connect here. I was like, should I join mid-show? I don't know if I'm like, I'm
No,
just gonna send it.
I literally just started because I saw your message like not too long ago,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, screw it, I'm just gonna start. And so I started, but I've only got into the first segment, so I'm gonna cue you off because I already basically shared my thoughts on that. But the John Cena Randy Orton segment, I did want to get your thoughts because coming off of what happened in that crazy ass horrible main event of WrestleMania, and now we're here and John Cena gets taken out, RKO'd by Randy Orton. How did you feel about this?
Denise, sorry to derail your show, but I need to go back to something else. I refuse to continue this show with you. This will literally be my last episode
What did
unless
I do?
unless you sit here right now and apologize to Karrion Kross. I will not
Oh
continue.
my God.
Apologize.
Why do I got to apologize?
Apologize.
Why do
You
I
said
gotta
he
apologize?
sucked, that he couldn't do anything good. You said that you saw nothing there. Apologize, and then we can
I
continue
didn't
the
say
show.
all of that. Okay, look, I just saw that promo that he did with Sam Roberts. Okay, that was good, but I still need to see that on TV, Santi.
All right.
Once I see it on the programming, then I will issue my apology. And once I see it consistently, Santi, consistently.
I mean, this is maybe the best compliment you've ever given Karrion Kross, considering you thought a compliment last week was you liked him when he was bald. But
Okay,
all right,
don't take that back. I'm still on board with that. But
all right.
once we see that on TV and we see it consecutively, then I will be on board.
All right.
I will be on board.
Okay,
All right.
John Cena.
John Cena, Randy Orton. What do you got?
I mean, I love it. It feels early. I think a lot of people were like, this is the John Cena like final match. I guess it makes sense with St. Louis being the host city of Backlash. This might be necessary actually to do it now because John Cena is trying so hard to be booed. He's trying so hard to be the bad guy, and people just keep cheering for him. Nostalgia is too damn big of a drug. So how do you combat nostalgia? With more nostalgia in the hometown of the other dude that elicits nostalgia, Randy Orton. This is the feud that could properly get John Cena booed so that then we can bring Cody Rhodes back later on. I think that this is a weirdly good timing, even though I thought that this was always going to be John Cena's last match.
Dude, I wasn't even sure what his last match was going to be because they could really go any direction, right? They could go back and rehash something like with Randy Orton, or they can, use his retirement match to propel somebody else, right? And so I really wasn't sure who or what that was going to be. But with this match, though, with Randy, here's the thing, Santi, I had said, and I'm kind of doubting myself, but I had said, oh, outright, John Cena is going to defeat Randy Orton and he's going to retain the championship. I don't think Randy's going to defeat him and get the title. I don't know. Should I be so confident about that opinion? Or do you think that there's a chance that Randy actually defeats John Cena and takes that title, especially given how many limited dates we have John Cena for?
I don't think so. I think that we're gonna see Cena hold this thing until Cody comes back. That's what I'm seeing. I guess we could see a world where Randy wins it and then it's Cody Randy. But with Cody being like the face of the WWE and him losing the way that he did, I feel like the continuation of this is Cody getting the title back in some capacity, in some way, shape, or form.
Dude, because okay, here's the thing though, is that when Cody gets back the belt, I think we have to be in a place though where the fans actually want to see it, because we can be in a place, Santi, where the fans want a completely new person. there could be somebody else. You know how it is. People's attentions, they shift very fast, and their adoration can switch very fast, and they can jump from person to person just like that. So I don't fully know, but at the same time, given the way that everything played out, it does feel like Cody needs to get revenge because they made him look not so great last night, okay? I did not like the way they made Cody look, and he does need some form of retaliation.
Right. It's interesting how much we disagree on that WrestleMania main event. I love Travis Scott coming out. I
Get
thought that
out of
it was
here.
a great payoff.
I'm not
Like
buying your acting skills, Santi.
if you think about it, the connection of everything that's going on, like it all revolves around Travis Scott. Like I was cheering with how good that was.
Lies, lies. Go back to acting class, Santi. I do not buy it, okay? Go back. I do not buy it. That was horrible. Dude, I was like yelling. I was yelling at Travis Scott. Dale prisa, move faster, because I could not believe that it was a joke to me. It was a joke seeing him walk out there so slow, taking his sweet time. It was insane.
Wait, did you go? Because you said you weren't gonna go, that you were gonna go
No, I
back to your
didn't.
office.
I went, so I was gonna come back and fly back here, but I got too stressed out about making my flight back because I had to do Busted Open, and it gave me like a very small window. So I decided to stay and do my post show from the hotel and my watch along from the hotel instead of actually going to the show, which worked out because, as you know, the press box is like super high up. And also, I found out, supposedly, someone told me that night one of the press box, they didn't have the audio on the press screens. So like people couldn't hear the commentary or anything like that. So I feel like I made the best decision on that.
All right, all right.
Yeah. We got a super chat here, by the way, from Arn Twirl, who says, I heard that Cody and WWE were being sued by Boston Band, also named American Nightmare, and that they had until June to respond. Think that factors? Cody has been I don't know what the update is on that. I did see that a while ago, but I haven't seen any updates, or maybe I haven't followed up on this. Santi, I don't know if you've seen any updates on this.
I haven't
It's
seen
been a
any
while.
updates. Like I have a tiny bit of knowledge because I have a degree in legal studies. My understanding is like it's going to be a difficult case for them to win to prove copyright infringement because Cody Rhodes' American Nightmare is a moniker, a nickname, not something that is in the same realm of music. They're going to need to prove that WWE Entertainment falls in the same category of entertainment of their music. I think it's going to be an uphill battle.
Okay. Thank you so much to Arn Twirl. We got MSQ here who says, Santi, be careful what you wish for. You wish for Stone Cold at Mania? Well, here you go, and show some respect to Taker for being at last year's Mania. I will never forget that Undertaker meme where he's like running and he's running so slow. That's probably one of my favorite online internet videos. So funny. MSQ, thank you so much for the love. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into our next segment. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeating Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. So when I saw this was going to be a rematch, I was a little taken aback by it. But I thought to myself, okay, I don't think they would be doing this rematch if the titles weren't going to go back to Liv and Raquel. And then, of course, we see Becky Lynch turn heel and attack her Irish bestie, Lyra Valkyria. How'd you feel about this?
It just brings me with a lot of questions, like especially like regarding Bailey. I don't know how much information we have on that, but just like based on like what we have here, I think it's the right call. Becky being heel and attacking Lyra gives the IC title its first ever actual story and its first ever actual feud with a giant name in Becky Lynch. It's also a nice surprise to see, Becky Lynch turning heel. And I do think that that Raquel and Liv are better suited to actually, be in the tag team division and already be a dead tag team division, but going down to NXT with all those women that are there that are vying for the title, I feel like Liv and Raquel are the better representation of tag team wrestling than what we're getting with, or what we got briefly between Lyra and Becky. So I like the call. Plus, giving a bunch of members of the Judgment Day gold while Finn Balor has nothing is also extra funny. So I'm down for it. I'm here for it.
That is so true. Here's the thing. So with that being said, I feel like Liv, you're right, because the women's tag team division is pretty much non-existent. But I think that Liv and Raquel have more of that personality to see it through. That even if they're not going out there and having all of these matches with all of these teams because they don't exist, they at least have the personality to keep it running, right? I feel like Becky turning heel and having this matchup or having this feud now with Lyra is exactly what Lyra needed because she didn't have a big story. She's been Intercontinental Champion for such a long time now, Santi, and really there hasn't been a major story there. And this is finally it. And we had felt like this was what they had started at one point, and then she left, she came back, and we're finally seeing it play out. I'm excited to see what they do there because I think this was needed. And I also think that Becky is far more interesting when she's feuding with someone than her being in a tag team with someone. Like, sure, it's cute, it's fun, but come on, we want to see something more of a big deal. Also, given the fact that I didn't want Becky's return just to be about this cute moment, I wanted it to lead to something bigger, which it did.
Yeah, I think this is the right call. I think you and I are in agreement here. This is the right call for Becky. This is going to be big for Lyra, her biggest story, her biggest feud, and good for the IC title. It desperately needed somebody like Becky going after it.
I feel you. We got Bob Ross Jr. who says my investigation of leader of Dark State is complete. The leader of Dark State is Santi. Also, can we get a door giveaway?
Don't give that any attention. They're trying to get me to buy a door at Home Depot and give it away to my viewers, which
What's wrong with that? I think you should do it.
a door giveaway.
Yes, a door giveaway so that you can
Ooh.
then get
Oh,
stuck with horrible shipping costs.
what if I put a bunch of nude pictures of me on the door and I call it the forbidden door?
Look, Santi, first of all, if you do that, you're gonna have to definitely charge some people, I think. You don't
Of
want to give it
course.
out for free, okay?
Oh
Do
yeah,
not
that's
give
not a
it for
giveaway.
free.
You're paying for that. You're paying for the
Yeah.
forbidden door, baby.
All right. Well, hey, if you do the door, I'll do a ladder. I'll go out there and ship someone a ladder from Home Depot. Thank you, Bob Ross Jr. All right. With that being said, let's keep it moving. We got Hassan Batla here who says you think Becky will be a Heyman man. So that's been another theory that's been going around, Santi, is clearly something's going on with Seth and Becky because they're both angry people. Becky Lynch, do you think there's a world where she joins Seth Rollins' new group?
Yeah, I think it exists. I feel like she has to be somebody that you have to seriously consider as an option. We spent a huge portion of the end of the stream, like fantasy booking, who could be the extra person that could be added here. It's cool to be in this situation because the last time that we were in this was when we were all trying to fantasy book who's going to be the new member of the Judgment Day. I remember when people thought it was going to be like Tommaso Ciampa for a while, and then we slowly got members added to the group. Do I see a world where Becky Lynch makes sense? Sure, I do. I think there's more intriguing options than Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch doesn't need this. I'm envisioning something more like Evolution, where we have the top main event guy and then two guys or maybe a girl that could use that main event rub, like Evolution added Batista and Randy Orton and ended up becoming giant stars.
Especially because obviously the big thing that happened today was Bron Breakker aligning himself with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, helping Seth Rollins lay out both CM Punk and Roman Reigns, which is crazy to even say. Like, what a visual that we even got with that. And so here's the thing, like, if they did add Becky to this, I do think it would be different. It would be cool. It would be something that we haven't really gotten before, right? Real life husband and wife being part of a heel stable. Okay, totally different for Seth. Totally different for Becky, right? But I get what you mean by the evolution thing because even just seeing Bron Breakker there, everybody was like, hey, he's reminding us of Batista in this spot, right? Two big guys that are young and that are on the precipice of really becoming something massive. And so, Santi, night one, WrestleMania, the ending, I did not, and I had said this on the Raw on our post show last week. I had said, I don't want to see Paul Heyman align with Seth Rollins. I was not on board with that. When it happened, I wasn't on board. I didn't care. Even today, I was not really too excited heading into Raw After Mania. However, once I saw Bron Breakker come out and align himself with Seth, Oh my God, I
Yeah.
got so excited. It completely made this worth it for me where suddenly I give a shit about this dang storyline. I feel like Braun adding to this is the savior for me. I feel like this just made it far more worth it because we're building towards the future where we know that down the line, Braun Breakker is going to end up somehow being managed by Paul Heyman. Braun Breakker already has all of the makings of a star, and all he really needs is that fine tuning to get to that next level. And I think that Paul Heyman can help him with that because it's more on the personality, Mike side of things, where I think that Braun needs a little bit of work in. Everything else he's got. So you know that he's going to be that next guy up.
Yeah, listen, like I love the comparison of Bron Breakker and Batista. I agree with you, but also don't agree with you. I love the whole Paul Heyman thing with Seth Rollins. I was just more so wondering, like, why? Like, what is the purpose of this? Seth Rollins doesn't need a Paul Heyman. What are we doing here? Let me just wait till I get a little bit more of the story. I thought we were going to get more of the story in the night two main event. I thought it was going to be stuff with The Rock and maybe Cena or whatever, but we got the next part of the story. We got more of the explanation. And I like the idea of Seth and Paul in a faction more than just Seth and Paul.
I Yes, because here's the thing. The why was the big thing, right? Like, why would he go with Seth Rollins? And I get it. People are going to be like, oh, well, it's because Roman Reigns mistreated him and because CM Punk mistreated him. But all of that felt like you can argue against it. And coming off of night one, I felt like the only person who was benefiting from this was Seth Rollins. That's what it felt like. Now, with Bron Breakker's involvement, it feels like there's more people benefiting from this. Braun and also Paul Heyman, because he's always behind the next big thing, right? The next big star. And so he can be that person that is given credit for helping build up this new WWE star. So now I see this as something that has potential to keep growing and moving things forward. And I think it's exciting because we know down the line, Bron Breakker is going to be that guy. He's going to be the guy like Roman Reigns that is main eventing WrestleManias. And just like we've seen Roman Reigns grow each and every single year, that's what we're going to eventually see with Braun. And we've known this for a while. And now it's finally in the process. It's in the process of happening now. We got RV14, by the way. Thank you so much for the super chat. It says, Banger Raw, bring back Michael Cole's glass box. Oh, God, we'll get into that in a second. We got CJ here who says, what do you think is next for Bianca? She's on SmackDown. Does she get drafted or does she go for Tiffany considering the pending heel change on the horizon? So right now with Bianca Belair, I don't really know what's next. It feels like the whole entire world wants her to turn heel. So I'm almost feeling like they're going to be forced to make that decision. Do you think they will make that decision, Santi?
They have to consider it, at least. I thought those boos were going to be just exclusive to Europe. They're here, and they lasted for the entirety of the road to WrestleMania. We got them real loud at WrestleMania. You have to, at the very least, be considering this. I do want to see Bianca and Naomi first as a babyface heel feud, a feud that I would love for Naomi to win. And maybe that's the catalyst for Bianca Belair turning heel. I want to see, before the heel turn, I want to see babyface Bianca and heel Naomi feud, though.
Yeah, you're saying like the catalyst for this, as she's already started to build up things that are pissing her off, right? Rhea being added to the match, her losing her WrestleMania streak, her friend turning on her. All of these things are happening. And, eventually I think Bianca will probably be driven mad by all of that. Thank you so much, CJ. We got Hassan Batla here who says, also, Denise, do you like Cross anymore this week? I already complimented the promo. He did. I complimented it, guys. Why does everybody want me to be like, oh, I was wrong? Oh.
Because you are.
Okay, first of all, I don't remember you, Santi, coming out here and being like, Denise, you're wrong. This promo was absolutely amazing. Denise, you're wrong. This match was absolutely amazing. You hid behind me on that.
I have no
Behind
comment.
me.
There was no
You let
hiding.
me take the bullet.
You were the one with the rough words. I let you dig your own grave with the things that you were saying about Karrion Kross. You cannot find a clip on me of me on this show saying anything negative about Karrion Kross. It was all you.
Oh, for a fact, sure. All right, we got Nine Tails, Toji here, who says, "Hey, I would like to see Denise and Santi's reaction to my comment under Santi's hot takes. Since you both love Stephanie as much as me, love you both." Okay, so I'm guessing that's on your Twitter page,
Yeah, we won't be able
Santi.
to find that in
Yeah.
time.
All right, if we were to find that, well, or you can just send it in a comment here, and I will try to pull it up. Nine
No, in
Tails.
another 5 New Zealand, and then we'll read it out.
And I'm the mean one. I'm the mean one.
Denise,
I was gonna
Denise,
read his great comment.
this is what's best for business, Denise. This is what's best for business. Send
Okay.
it again.
So, okay, fine. If you want to send it again, but I will be keeping an eye out for it. Thank you, Nine Tails. We got Chris Bias here, Chris Blast, excuse me, who says, "You think Backlash could outshine WrestleMania? Jay versus Sammy, Cena versus Orton, Punk, Roman versus Seth and Braun, Tornado Tag, Gunther versus Michael Cole." All right, you got me with that one, Chris. But legit, no, I do think there is a chance. Look, WrestleMania's bar this year is not that high. So there is definitely a chance for several shows to top WrestleMania. Thank you, Chris. All right, so let's get into the next segment. We do got another super chat, actually. This is from Gabe F23, who says, "Hey guys, who do you think will be EO's next feud?" Ooh, wow, this was one of those things that the women's segment was insane, Santi. This was one of my favorite parts of the show besides the ending. And it was, here's the thing, Raw After Mania, the thing I love about Raw After Mania and what makes a great Raw After Mania is a great crowd and surprises. Those are the two big ingredients that I want from this. And it was the moment that they announced that, well, when Stephanie came out, I lost my shit because I'm like, she looks so great.
I was
But
down
she
on my knees thanking God. I like if you go into my Instagram and watch the reaction, I got on my knees and I thanked the Lord that we were
that
getting
blue
this.
Santi, that blue that she was wearing, I'm a sucker for blue gear. I think it's one of the most beautiful colors that a person could wear. And she just like, she was glowing. And so when she got out there, I couldn't believe that they were going to do this matchup. Even when Adam Pearce came out, I thought, oh, this guy's going to ruin it. This ain't going to happen. And then it actually happened. And it was so fun. And that's what made it feel, that's what started to make Raw After Mania start to feel a little bit more special to me because we were seeing a completely unexpected match here. And this was good. We ended up seeing Roxanne come in and, she goes out, she ruins this match. She causes the DQ. And I see Julia go out there, which I guess they're now like teaming up together. I didn't get to watch Stand and Deliver, so I was a little bit left out here where I'm
There's
like,
no
what did I
connection
miss?
between those two. It was weird to have Julia
Oh,
and
okay.
Roxy together. Yeah, that was weird.
I thought I missed something on Stand and Deliver, and I'm thinking, okay, so because from the looks of it, the way that they were acting, Santi, it feels like they may maybe be some sort of team now.
Yeah, so what I'm gathering here, by the way, I thought the finish was necessary. I didn't want to see Stephanie take an L. The match was good, but we needed to get Stephanie out of there in a way where she didn't lose, considering she's defending the title on NXT this Tuesday, in case you didn't know that. So I'm happy that it was an interference, but I'm glad that they gave them lots of time to showcase the actual match, even though we didn't get a proper finish. What I'm sussing out here is that this might just be the start of the build to the Evolution pay-per-view
Yes,
in
that's
June.
exactly the feeling that I got right there. Once they had Rhea out there,
Mhm.
mixing it in with the NXT girls, the Julia Rhea stare off that they did, I thought, okay, there's already rumors about Evolution 2 happening. I think this right here is the first thing that we're getting in terms of, hey, we're leading to that. So I think you're right on that because that was the exact same thing that I was thinking. This feels like we're setting up for Evolution 2, which is fine because I do want to see Evolution 2. I've been advocating for Evolution 2. So I'm so thrilled that that's happening or possibly happening. But I think that this was fun for the sake of, I love seeing Roxanne out there. I love seeing the Rhea Julia bit part of it. I even love seeing Rhea take out Roxanne. I thought that was cool. Dang, I hope this also brings back Bailey, by the way. She should have been out there too because it feels like that feels very incomplete as well. So in
Agreed.
terms of EO's next feud, right now it feels very open-ended. Rhea did hand her the championship belt, paid her some respect for that phenomenal matchup they had at WrestleMania, but it kind of feels like her options do feel like she can kind of go any direction. Thank you, Gabe. We got Sasarito here who says, Roxanne as the Orton is my favorite option. That's funny. Thank you so much, Sasarito. We got Stephen Marchuli who says, turn Bailey set up Evolution 2 with Tiffany, Lyra, Stephanie versus Horsewomen. Oh, kind of like, the Horsewomen versus the new girls that we're seeing. I don't hate that. Thank you, Steven. All right, we got Arturo here who says, crazy thought. Seth Heyman plus Rock and Cena. Heyman used 1, 2, 3. Seth echoed WrestleMania 40 with costume thrower and said in an interview, my soul is always for sale. Cena to Pat McAfee, if you're the same person you were 2 years ago, echoing Paul. Okay, hold on. Let me reread this again.
What in the Rubik's Cube of a message is this?
Okay, so I wasn't the only one.
No, I didn't follow that at all.
I read it, and I'm like, hold on, I gotta go back and reread it.
My chat's going, what?
Okay, so I'm thinking he's saying Seth and Heyman and Rock and Cena all together, or Seth and Heyman against Rock and Cena. Kind of like two different groups.
Okay. Right? This one's all you. This one's all you, Denise.
Okay. Oh, I got the hard questions. I want easy questions. Send me the easy stuff. Okay, Arturo, thank you so much for a super chat. So if you're talking about them being like separate and going against each other, stop it, you're distracting me. I can't even answer the question properly.
You don't even know what the question is.
I was going to answer two versions of it. If he's saying for them to go up against each other separately, okay, it just feels, I don't know, they just feel too separate to me right now. If they were to come together, that feels like too much. I think I answered the question.
I agree with Denise.
Copy and paste what Denise said. Girl, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. Thank you for your generous super chat. And I promise you, I will give you a better answer for a question I 100% understand. But I hope I somewhat slightly answered that. All right. The New Day, Rusev, returned in the most random segment. This did not hit the way that I would hope that the Rusev return hit. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say this. It was kind of lame. All right. I'm just going to say it. I did not love the Rusev return. I kind of really didn't even care too much. I don't know if it's because, here's the thing. I liked Miro in AEW. For what we got, I liked Miro in AEW. I will never forget Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Meat. Love that. But for whatever reason, I just didn't have that same reaction that I did when Ricky Saints came into NXT or, even like just all these other people. I don't know what it was.
I mean, I can tell you, like, why have him debut in front or be part of a program? I'm sure this is a one-off, but his debut was in a program in a dead division. No one gives two singular fuck. Denise, do you see this in my hand? You see this?
Yes.
This is the amount of fucks that I give towards the tag team division. There's nothing there. So having Rusev debut in this segment with tag teams that have had no direction for so long in a division that means absolutely nothing was a little bit bewildering. This was weird. I know that it's an easy thing to do to just, hey, go destroy Alpha Academy. That's a thing. But like at this point, who hasn't destroyed Alpha Academy? It's not a unique way to bring in Rusev back to the WWE fold. I'm glad that he's back, but it was underwhelming to put him in this division. Like there is nothing impressive, like I said, because everyone and their dog has already done it about taking out Alpha Academy.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. And here's the thing. When the New Day was out there, I was actually excited about what their heel championship was going to look like. And I'm thinking, okay, heel New Day as tag team champions. Here we go. Let's kind of get that moving once again. And maybe we can get some more buzz out of that. And then it just kind of went into this. And I thought to myself, like, I can't believe Rusev is coming in on this feud here. And I know this is going to lead, hey, he'll get a match with Otis. Cool. Great. Sure. I love it. Give me the meat. Great. But I just didn't see this as a successful
That's gonna be a
Santi, you
quote.
did not miss that. You did not miss that. I was like, I'm gonna keep talking, and maybe
Denise,
Santi didn't catch that.
I will never miss the meat. I will never go
Well,
over my head. I caught that instantly. So did my chat.
I'm known for being a fan of the meat, Santi. And I'm actually trying to set something up here, but I botched it. So
So
hold on.
now we just have a
Yes.
clip of you saying I'm a
Wait,
fan of the
wait, here
meat.
it is. Here it is. Here it is.
Oh!
Meat. When the meat is good, the meat is good. That's what I was trying to get to. Sorry it took forever. I was trying to make something happen.
Oh my god, that was painfully slow, like Travis Scott's walk to the ring.
I don't know what was slower, me trying to make my joke or Travis getting into the ring.
You just should have
Um,
not said anything because now the sound bites out of that.
oh, probably the amount of sound bites that I've put out there in the internet, I've
Fair
lost
enough.
track already at this
I'm
point.
there
I've
with
lost
you.
track. um, all right, so dang, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, wish the debut, wish the return, excuse me, of Rusev would have been a lot better for sure. We got David here who says this is how you do a main event. This is Triple H booking. WrestleMania was Rock TKO. Love the fact Julia and Rox are teaming up, and I just bought my tickets to Backlash. Here's the thing: we don't know that. We do not know who made what decision on what. At least I don't know if anything's been put out there. I can't just be like, oh yeah, this wasn't Triple H or this totally was TKO and The Rock. Triple H, is the chief creative officer. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's one of those things where I don't know if you can necessarily say, oh, because this was bad, this wasn't Triple H, or when this is good, this was Triple H. When you are in this position, good or bad, you got to take the heat, you got to take the critique, whether it was good or bad. You're the face of the creative team.
I agree. It cuts both ways, right? You can't just choose that it only cuts when it's good.
Right. That's just the way it is. Thank you so much, David. We got Bob Ross Jr. who says, rest in peace, Pat McAfee. All right, well, let's get to that. So the gist of it is Gunther choked the living shit out of Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee turned pink, Santi. This man turned pink. But the thing that really got me was how much they milked this. Holy cow.
It was a
They
lot.
milked
It was a
this.
lot.
The whole break was just Pat McAfee. And then we came back from the break and it was still Pat McAfee. And then afterwards, I forgot what happened afterwards, but the segment after the next segment, they were still on the Pat McAfee
Yeah.
thing. And then
Then
we
it was
got a whole
Michael
replay.
Cole. Then Michael
Yeah,
Cole walking back out. It was a lot. It was a lot because they did a bunch of replays over it as well.
they did. So Gunther, Pat McAfee, you think it's happening?
Yeah, I think I'm interested in it because I've seen Pat McAfee work before and it's entertaining. You know, I'll always harken back to the Pat McAfee versus Adam Cole feud from NXT, and it was just so much fun. I think I'm down for this. It would be a good way for Gunther to pick up some heat, right? As he rebuilds himself after this World Heavyweight Championship loss. I don't have any interest in Gunther going after Jey Uso right now. I can't really see where I want Gunther right now. So if this is a nice like a little pit stop feud for Gunther, I'll take it. I'll take it, sure.
Yeah, I actually think it could be fun. So I'm on board with it. I want to
Did
see Pat
you
McAfee get
did
chopped.
you also like me think for a second that fans actually jumped the barricade during that?
No, because
Okay,
I
I
had
did.
remembered that they showed
I
the
didn't.
friends from the podcast. I had remembered that they showed the friends. So that was the friends, the
Mm,
co-host, excuse me. His
yeah,
co-host from the podcast. I had remembered that. So that's when I was like, oh, okay, it's just
yeah.
his co-host.
I straight up thought I'm like, this is anarchy. Like, get the talent out of there. People are gonna die.
You know what? I always like when shit like that happens, like whether it happens in sporting games or stuff. I like the drama shit. When there's a streaker on TV or when they like someone runs by, I'm like, come on. They never show them, right? You always got to go on Twitter and look for the video. But I like that stuff. I like the drama.
Do you root for the streaker?
Kind of. I'm like, go out
Okay.
there and run because I like to
What
see what happens.
Yeah, all right. Keep the same energy, Denise. What if the streaker's carrying cross?
Oh my God. Answer that.
No, answer the question. Keep the same energy, Denise. You said you would
Okay.
root for the streaker. Would you root for the streaker if
Yes.
it's carrying
I'm
cross?
gonna root for the streaker, okay? Because it's entertaining. It's entertaining.
If it's carrying cross, say it. You would root for
Yes.
carrying cross as a
Okay, if
streaker.
Karrion Kross
Go ahead. Go ahead.
If Karrion Kross, I can't even finish saying the sentence.
Go ahead. If Karrion Kross is a streaker.
Streaks on Monday Night Raw, I will be a fan. Oh God,
Right.
I hate
All
that.
right.
That's out there now, Santi.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
No problem.
Oh man, we got JJ Castillo here who says, with how WrestleMania 41 played out, how do you feel about the 2-night SummerSlam this year? Can they execute having a 2-night PLE for SummerSlam with a proper build-up for feuds? I'm kind of concerned. Oh, definitely. Coming off of this WrestleMania, I was surely concerned about SummerSlam night 2. I still am. I'm feeling a little slightly better coming off after Raw After Mania, slightly better, but still concerned though overall, because this WrestleMania, there was no reason for them to miss, and it was a miss. And I don't want to see that happen for SummerSlam, because I was already thinking SummerSlam 2 nights was too much.
I'm obviously concerned. How can you not be? I'm always more on the optimistic side, especially listen, I said this to my chat. I'm like, man, I didn't think that WWE could heal the wounds so quickly off of what they did to us at WrestleMania 41. And they did. They did with this fantastic Raw After Mania. So now I'm back on the, as the kids say, glazing WWE train.
You know what it is? It's like being in a bad relationship, and then all of a sudden he's like, I love you. You're the love of my life. And you're like, I'm back. I'm in love.
Yeah. You guys got to understand, he only hits me because he
no.
loves me.
That's what it feels like. Oh God, great. We're easy. See, this is why they do stuff like this, because they know that all they got to do is a quick little Band-Aid fix, and that's it. We're back. Man. Oh, JJ Castillo, thank you so much for the super chat. We got Aquatic Bigfoot here, says the only meat that was beat was Pat McAfee. I loved how that rhymes. Thank you for the rhyme. Thank you. MSQ says Heyman used Rock's 1, 2, 3 count. Seth mirrored the Rock's outfit. Cena and Paul echoed, if you're the same 2 years later, you wasted the 2 years. Amterol. He was just kind of correcting a little bit of what he said. Thank you, MSQ.
Thank you for putting that in English.
What?
I said, thank you for putting that in English.
Oh. Oscar Lara says, does Streaker Cross have hair, or is he bald? Oh, God.
Where does he have hair? And where is he bald?
Oh, God. You know, I'm visualizing this right now.
I'm asking the real questions for the viewers.
I'm literally visualizing this right now. And now I hate life because it won't get out of my head. If it's in my head, I need it to be in everybody's head. Karrion Kross streaking, bald or with hair.
Where are we talking about in terms of the hair?
I mean, we've pretty much seen all of Karrion Kross for the most part. Oh, man. I'm moving on. Oscar Lara, thank you for the super chats. Oh, man, I can't even right now. All right, Jey Uso Celebration. He's the brand new World Heavyweight Champion. And dang, this was the celebration. Had Sammy go out there. There was a little bit of a tease. Santi, people were wondering if Sami Zayn was going to turn on him. I didn't feel like he was tonight. However, there was a slight moment where Jey was on top of the turnbuckle and he was doing his thing, and Sammy came from directly behind him, and they kept the camera there for a second. I definitely think that was a tease of, hey, he's not going to do it tonight, but he may do it later on in the future, turning on Jey Uso. And obviously they have history. They were friends, then they fell apart, and then they were friends again. So they definitely have history. And I think if they want to get people emotionally invested in Jey Uso even more, I think this is a pretty interesting way to go about it.
Yeah, I think the way that they're probably going to do it, I bet you their first match is going to be face versus face. Kind of like how Cody versus Kevin Owens, their first match at Bash in Berlin was face versus face. And maybe it develops further into something with a Sami Zayn heel turn. But this is the feud that I want to see. This is what I want to see for Jey Uso. I didn't want to see them run it back with Gunther. I definitely don't want Rusev yet. I think I actually said, give me Sami Zayn or Bron Breakker. I think that Bron Breakker has now gone on to something much bigger. So give me Sami Zayn. I'm fine with this.
Yeah, I think this is good. Sami Zayn is really good at pulling the emotional stuff out. So I think that we could get on board with this. All right, we got CJ here who says we need Denise versus Scarlett at Backlash. No, bro, she'd kill me. Did you see that evil look she gave? Afterwards during that AJ Karen Cross segment, she looked at the camera so terrifying. There's no way. She'd kill me. Thank you, CJ. All right. With that being said, let's see what else we got to get into. Dominik Mysterio defeated Penta to retain the Intercontinental Championship. This was fun. JD McDonough made his return after that scary spot where he had that he hit his head on the commentary table. So always good to see people come back, especially when they go through something like that. And Finn Balor looks like he's still jealous of Dominik. They're slowly but surely letting that be known. But Santi, your moment officially happened. Dominik Mysterio, Intercontinental Champion. Look, before you yell at me, I want to say something because I am a woman of my word. And when I am wrong, I own up to it. Okay. Dominik Mysterio.
I just want to say, I love when the women in my life finally admit that they're wrong.
Dominik Mysterio won me over in that fatal 4-way match. My pick was Penta, but the way that the match went, the way that it played out, it was so freaking fun. And I legitimately felt happy when Dominik won. I was happy for him. I applauded. I'm a fan.
It's great that you're a fan, but Denise, the thing is that we don't need you. You weren't here during the bad times.
You
just
sound like John Cena right now. You sound like John Cena. Are you gatekeeping?
Nothing. You weren't there when things were tough. You don't get to be here to rip the rewards. I was telling you and all the bums around the world to buy your Dominik Mysterio stocks. And if you did, you're a dumb millionaire now. You're welcome for making you guys rich, but you don't just get to jump on this wonderful little golden goose that is Dominik Mysterio now all of a sudden that he's over. If you weren't there where times are tough, you don't get to be here when times are good. Get out of here with your fake ass fandom, Denise. We don't need you on the Dominik bandwagon.
Fine. Then in that case, why did you ask me to issue an apology for Karen Cross? What if he finally wins me over? I can't be on board. I'm out.
Correct. I'm waiting for the moment that you try to be in for me to kick you out.
So now we are gatekeeping Dominik Mysterio 100%. Fandom.
Dominik Mysterio has been hey, you had years to get into the Dominik Mysterio community. We had a wide open door community. We had an open door policy.
A sign-up sheet?
There was an open door policy and you chose not to take advantage of it. We are closing the doors. We have gated security. We have people with rifles at the front. You don't get to come into this community anymore.
These Stan fans are a little too crazy, okay? Talk to the hand, Santi. Mm-hmm. We got Japani here who says, do you think we'll ever get an AJ Lee appearance? Dude, every time I think it's close to happening, I'm like thinking no. But if Evolution 2 happens, I'm slightly thinking yes, because I think she would come in for that big moment. Japani, thank you so much. We got World here who says Cody should accidentally cost Randy at Backlash. Ooh, that's something there. I don't hate that. But I also would hate it if Cody accidentally did something, considering the fact that he's already been made to look silly at WrestleMania, though. But thank you, World. I'll put some thought into that. All right. Let's see. We pretty much covered everything. That was the show, guys. Oh, I didn't even mention though. Shit, we got so into the weeds about Bron Breakker and Seth Rollins. I forgot to mention the big moment that also happened before that, which was Roman Reigns hitting that spear and Superman punch on Paul Heyman. God. I loved that.
Denise, when Roman did the ooh, and then he went to go spear Paul Heyman, and then he got speared, I thought Paul Heyman hit that spear for a second. I was like, damn, Paul!
He just went into when he split in two, his clone came out and speared Roman.
It felt that way. I was like, where the hell has this Paul Heyman been? The dude's a beast.
Especially because he was wearing black and then Bron was wearing black. So it kind of like all meshed and the camera cuts and everything. That was great, man. I honestly didn't think that Paul Heyman would take that bump right now, considering that, you know, he's getting up there in age and whatnot. So I wasn't too sure. But hey, man, he got put to a table last year. He's doing it. He's got he likes to do it. All right. Anthony Giuliano here says, Santi, you ready for Gunther versus Pat McAfee?
I'm so down. I'm so down for this.
I want to see Pat McAfee get chopped. That's all I know. Thank you, Anthony. All righty, guys. There you have it. Raw After Mania is officially in the books. We got one more chat. This is from Anthony Giuliano, who says, I'm a fan of Pat McAfee. Yeah, I like Pat McAfee. I know a lot of people feel differently sometimes about him, but I
I
do
like
enjoy
him.
Pat McAfee. Awesome. All right. Now that is a wrap for Raw After Mania. Santi, as always, thank you so much for joining. Even after a busy, crazy night, we did it. WrestleMania 41. That's it. WrestleMania season's over. We're moving on to the next thing.
Yes, sir. Hey, we still got NXT after Stand and Deliver and SmackDown after WrestleMania. There's still some heaters left this week. But yeah, no, what a wild weekend it was. I was operating on an average of 2 hours of sleep a night.
Dude, I 100% understand. We got Luis here, by the way, who says, should Ethan Page or Theory join Seth? I don't know about that. I don't really vibe with either of the two options joining the group right now.
I like Theory. I like Theory in this.
Okay. It'd be different. He has a different personality. Thank you, Luis. We got David Montalvo here who says Dirty Dom went from convict to Intercontinental Champion. I hope he's still champion by the time Survivor Series comes to San Diego.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, but I can't cheer, so sorry.
Yeah, you're off the train.
I'm off. Thank you, David, for the super chat. All right. We got Terrence Johnson who says, would you root for Yuma as a streaker?
I don't know who Yuma is.
I don't know either. That's why I was a little confused as well. Sorry, Terrence. I'm not really sure what you're referring to here. Oh, Yuta. Wheeler Yuta. Oh, fuck no. No one. There's someone that I hate more than don't like Wheeler Yuta.
Oh, Wheeler Yuta is like my favorite on AEW.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he is not. Okay, no thanks. I'm out on that. All righty. Now we're done with the show. Santi, please tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me at All Things Santi Zap. I will be posting a review of this Monday night after WrestleMania in a couple of hours. So make sure you head on over there and drop a subscribe. But otherwise, you can just find whatever social media platform I'm on and pick your poison. I'm there.
YouTube.com/Denise Salcedo. I have a ton of WrestleMania content, guys. I was on the ground, try to go as much as I possibly can. Lots of cool interviews that are up on the channel. Go check that out at _Denise Salcedo on social media. Thank you guys so much, and we'll be back here next week for some more Monday Night Raw conversation. Bye, everyone.